Imagine a fragile peace shattered before it could truly bloom. That's the heartbreaking reality unfolding in Gaza today. Just when hope seemed within reach, after a ceasefire brought back the living hostages and freed thousands of detainees, Israel has slammed the brakes on aid deliveries and kept the vital Rafah border crossing with Egypt firmly shut. Why? They're accusing Hamas of dragging their feet on returning the remains of deceased hostages, violating the US brokered deal. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this a justified stand for closure? Or a high-stakes gamble that could starve an already devastated population? Let's dive into the details and unpack this tense standoff, step by step, so even those new to the story can follow along. On Monday, the air in Israel and Gaza buzzed with cautious joy. Israelis cheered as the final 20 living hostages emerged from Gaza's shadows, while Palestinians celebrated Israel's release of nearly 2,000 detainees under the ceasefire's initial stage. Hamas handed over the bodies of 4 deceased hostages, but warned that locating and retrieving the remains of another 24 could take time, citing unidentified burial sites as the hurdle. Yet Israeli military sources, as reported by Haaretz, suspect Hamas knows exactly where more bodies are and is deliberately stalling. This accusation has sparked heated debates. Is it genuine operational difficulty amid rubble-strewn landscapes, or a calculated delay to gain leverage? Former US President Donald Trump weighed in forcefully, urging Hamas to release the remaining bodies promptly. A big burden has been lifted, but the job is not done. The dead have not been returned, as promised. He posted on social media, "Phase 2 begins right now." His words underscore the urgency, framing the hostage issue as a non-negotiable gateway to advancing the Gaza peace plan. And this is the part most people miss. These early ceasefire hiccups were anticipated, given the vague 20-point plan Trump proposed, which both sides are maneuvering to interpret in their favor. But Israel's decision to halve aid flows and delay Rafah's opening, a key gateway for supplies bypassing Israel, came as a stark surprise. The crossing was slated to reopen on Wednesday per the agreement, promising a flood of aid reminiscent of the brief March truce. For beginners, think of Rafah as Gaza's lifeline to the outside world. Without it, essential goods like food, medicine, and building materials struggle to enter, exacerbating a humanitarian crisis where nearly 70,000 have died in the 2-year conflict triggered by Hamas's October 7th attack that killed 1,200, mostly civilians. The plan mandated returning all hostages, alive and deceased, within 72 hours, with a fallback for sharing info on the dead and exerting maximum effort. The International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, acknowledged on Tuesday that such recoveries pose a massive challenge, with ICRC official Christian Cardon noting at a Geneva briefing, "The search for human remains, it's obviously an even bigger challenge than having the people alive being released." This highlights the grim reality of sifting through Gaza's destroyed infrastructure, where entire neighborhoods have been reduced to debris. Imagine the scale of the Egyptian pyramids, but in rubble. Ela Jaime, whose husband Tal was killed in the October 7th Hamas assault on kibbutz Nir Yitzhak, supports Israel's hardline stance. "I had the information that Hamas are not doing everything they can. The Israeli army gave them information, and they didn't use it. We can control how many trucks go inside the strip. We have things we can do, and we have to use it," she said. She insisted the government shouldn't proceed to phase 2 without all remains returned. This perspective raises eyebrows. Is wielding aid as leverage ethical in a war zone, or does it risk punishing innocent civilians? The debate rages on, with some arguing it's a necessary pressure tactic, while others see it as collective punishment. Post-celebration, Tuesday saw sporadic violence escalate tensions. Israeli forces, having withdrawn from Gaza City and other areas on Saturday, fired on civilians approaching their positions, reportedly killing 6. They remain along a yellow line, but control over half of Gaza. Gaza's civil defense spokesperson, Mahmoud Basal, reported 5 deaths from drone strikes in Shujaiya district and another near Khan Yunis. The Israeli military claimed they acted after warnings to suspected threats and near a former Hamas arms cache. Hamas's spokesperson, Hazem Qassem, accused Israel of breaching the ceasefire to shirk mediator commitments. Meanwhile, Hamas has ramped up efforts to reassert dominance, deploying armed fighters and targeting opponents, culminating in a chilling video of 7 men executed in a Gaza City square. Trump has endorsed this temporary Hamas control, while Israeli officials demand permanent disarmament. By Tuesday night, Trump warned, "If they don't disarm, we will disarm them, and it will happen quickly and perhaps violently." This is pure controversy fodder. Should Trump bless Hamas's street patrols, even briefly, in the name of stability? Or does it empower a group many view as terrorists? Humanitarian woes intensified with Rafah's closure. UN reports noted limited entries since the deal. Tents, meat, fruit, flour and medicine on Saturday, but nothing Monday due to hostage exchanges, and Tuesday's Jewish holiday halted crossings. We didn't witness any significant change on the ground. In the north especially, we need services, tents, water, heavy equipment, everything basically. We cannot say there is a flood of aid, lamented Amjad al-Shawa of the Palestinian NGO network. A Gaza hospital received 45 Palestinian bodies from Israel under the plan, with Israel pledging details on Palestinian dead in custody. Yet, aid shortages persist, drawing criticism. Is Israel's aid reduction a strategic move or a humanitarian disaster in the making? Eyes now turn to establishing a transitional Gaza Authority and multinational force, overseen by a board of peace, possibly led by Tony Blair. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati announced 15 technocrats, approved by all factions, including Hamas, and vetted by Israel, to manage daily affairs. With the order, as displaced families return to ruins, the devastation scale emerges. UN, EU and World Bank estimate $70 billion for rebuilding, with 55 million tons of rubble, equivalent to 13 Giza pyramids. Jaco Silias of the UN Development Programme said $20 billion is needed soon, the rest over decades. This staggering figure prompts reflection. Can global pledges translate to real recovery, or will corruption and politics derail it? In wrapping up, this ceasefire's turmoil exposes deep rifts between justice for hostages and humanitarian needs, between temporary truces and lasting peace. Do you agree with Israel's aid restrictions as a bargaining chip, or does it unfairly harm Palestinians? Should Trump push harder for disarmament, risking more violence? Is Hamas's re-emergence a path to order or a recipe for renewed chaos? Share your thoughts in the comments. What controversial aspects stood out to you? And how does this shape your view of Middle East diplomacy? Your opinions could spark vital dialogue.